Welcome to the Published and Paid podcast, where we share book, business, leadership, and life lessons in 20 minutes or less to help you build a thought leadership brand and business. My name is Jasmine Womack. I'm a former middle school language arts teacher turned seven-figure entrepreneur, and I am glad that you are here. Let's get started. All right, welcome back into the Published and Paid podcast. My name is Jasmine Womack, and I am your host for today. In today's episode, we're talking about how to make sure that your 2026 coaching selections are assets and not liabilities. Now, this episode really holds near and dear to my heart because it's somewhat connected to my dissertation topic and where I am studying the motivations behind business owners' decisions to invest in high-ticket coaching as a form of non-traditional education, with an emphasis on entrepreneurs, executives, and educators, people with academic backgrounds. And last year in 2025, as we really, doubled down on our workshops, on our monthly workshops, one of the things that I ran into on a consistent basis was hearing people with these absolute horror stories of investing in programs, investing $5,000, $10,000. One person had invested upwards of $18,000, only to realize once they got behind the scenes and once they got into the programs that they weren't getting what they thought they were going to get. Like, they weren't getting what they were sold. And it's so important for me to help you understand what type of things to look for so that you don't find yourself in a situation where you've invested in something and now it's totally different and also than what you thought it was going to be. And I think it's also important to make sure that we don't go into something with unrealistic expectations either. So that's why I am hosting this particular episode. If you're watching me on YouTube, you see me looking over to the left. I'm literally just looking at my notes. But you want to make sure that your coaching selections are assets and not liabilities. Right. And so I'm just super happy that you are here. Now, I do believe in the importance of coaching, and I believe that coaching is connected to accelerated business success. As a matter of fact, my doctoral studies, the research that I'm doing for my dissertation proves that people who have a coach actually get a better ROI. They get upwards of 300 or 400% more ROI, and they do it faster than if they were doing it on their own. And so let's talk about why coaching selections matter first and foremost. Like, the right coach can impart their mindset. They're going to impart their strategies and their methodologies. However, if you choose the wrong coach, it can absolutely shatter your self-confidence. It can destroy your belief in yourself and in how you view your ability to make strong decisions. Like, you've got to make sure that when you choose a coach, you are choosing a coach based on the right things. You're not choosing them based on what they say because it sounds good. You're not choosing them because they have fly shoes, or because they live in a mansion, or because they drive a Rolls Royce, or because any of those other things. Like, I hope y'all know that people do rent things for branding shoots, right? And even people that purchase those things to live in or to drive on a day-to-day. Having physical goods or physical items, that is not an indicator of their ability to explain information in a way in which the information is going to transfer to you well enough for you to be able to go execute it. And someone else's success and them talking about what they've been able to do, that can be a reflection of having good marketing and sales strategies. But that doesn't mean that they know how to break down what they've done and explain it to you in a way that you're going to grasp it, that you're going to understand it, and then that you're going to be able to do it. So we've got to make sure that we are not listening to hype and that we understand what we're looking for. And that when we look at people, we are judging them and assessing them appropriately. My husband has a friend who wrote a book years ago, and he came to me because his friend came to him and said, can you ask your wife? Right. And so she was like, listen, I need help with marketing. And there was a marketing agency. She said it was $20,000 and she was willing to pay, but she just wanted to make sure that it was the right investment. So I said, send me the information and let me look over it. And so they sent me the information. I said, this is ambiguous. First and foremost, she says that she wants to grow her book. She wants to expand her business. None of this stuff that they're saying has anything to do with them being able to help her in that area. It said a lot of information about websites, done for you websites and funnels. But I'm like, what software is going to be used? When they say funnel, does that mean that they're also going to create the copy? What kind of funnel are they going to create? What are they going to be giving away? What are they going to sell? Are they going to be using ChatGPT to come up with the language and the copy for the pages? Like, I have questions here. And so and the thing about it is that if you don't know, it can be really easy to be taken advantage of. So you've got to start learning. And what I realize is that a lot of people don't want to learn. They just want somebody to do everything for them. And that's why even in our coaching programs, we explain what things are, why you need them, and why this is essential to your business. And based on what you're working on, is what you're talking about what you need right now, right? Like, you've got to like really get clear on what you need. This person wasn't clear on what they needed. They just said, listen, I'm trying to sell more books. I want to market my book. But here goes someone trying to sell them this whole entire $20,000 package that included done for you website, that included done for you funnels, that included SEO, search engine optimization. It included all of these things and had nothing to do with what they were talking about. I said, she's about to end up with a website. She's about to end up with a lead magnet, opt-in, and one confirmation email. She's about to end up with that and no support. And she's going to be $20,000 out. I said, tell her she needs to come to my challenge so that she can actually start learning. And then she can ask whatever questions about what she needs in her business from there, right? Like, we've got to get clear and we've got to start using critical thinking. Like, if you say you want X, Y, and Z and somebody comes and sells you a rainbow, you got to ask yourself, well, how is that going to help with this? And then when someone says that they are going to give you X, Y, and Z, you can't twist it in your mind and tell yourself they're going to give you A, B, C. I encountered that. I actually ended up canceling a client because of that. Like, one of my offers at the time, I don't do this anymore, it did include a done for you website. It included a whole entire funnel strategy. Where I said, but I laid it out. I said, we are going to do your we're going to do your sales. We're going to do your landing page. We're going to do the landing page design. We're going to do the copy for it. We are going to do the opt-in. We're going to do a 5-part email sequence. We're going to do the checkout page copy. We're going to do 2 confirmation pages, one for each offer. Like, it broke it down granularly. And then once this person, they made, because the package didn't just come with that. It came with coaching. It came with a VIP day. It came with a lot of other things. And then once they came in, they started trying to get me to do a whole bunch of other stuff that they saw somebody else talking about. I was like, no, your package doesn't include that. Like, this is what it includes. So I think that when you're hiring coaches and after they kept pressing me for some things, I said, you know what? I don't think this is going to work because you're trying to take advantage and I'm not going to allow you to. And I'm very, very cognizant of my energy and how I work and who I work with, and people respecting not just boundaries, but respecting me as a person. And once I felt like this person started trying to be condescending towards me in a certain way, I was like, oh, I'm not dealing with this and I don't have to. Here's a refund. I wish you well on your way. And I'm sharing that experience to say that in the case of this client that I let go of, all the deliverables were crystal clear, but then they wanted something else. and they were trying to get something else based on what they had seen online. And I'm like, I don't work like that. And that's not what we talked about. And that's not what this includes. And so you've got to be realistic as well. Just like how someone else you need to understand what you're getting. You also need to understand and be realistic and and respect the package that you buy into, and don't try to make it more than what it is, because you decide that if you make this investment, now you're going to try to squeeze all the juice out the berry. No, you will have people that will cancel your service because they're not going to let you push them around, right? And so, it goes both ways. And I have to say that it does go both ways. It's a responsibility on you to understand what you're getting. And it's also a responsibility of you and the person that you're working with to stay inside the scope of work. And if you are a service provider, you have to hold your people to the fire. You can't keep extending deadlines or giving people more than what they've paid for. You need to stick to the scope of work that you agreed upon. And if someone wants more than what you originally agreed upon, then they need to pay for that. There needs to be an investment for that, because that's an additional service. So let's talk about the key traits of a coach that will be an asset for you, right? I believe that a good coach they lead by example, meaning that if they say that I can help you do X, Y, and Z, either you have seen them do it, they have a track record of doing it, or they've done it for others. Long gone are the days of the pandemic where any and everybody would just pop online talking about Airbnb and Turo and whatever else, even though their main business was something else. Look back at the track record. Do they have a history of doing this thing? If they don't have a history of doing the thing, you can have this conversation. Do you have testimonials? What is your experience in working with this? And I understand that, especially for newer coaches in the online space, they might not necessarily have coaching experience, but they might have 20 years of corporate experience of doing the thing. That counts as well. Okay. A coach also has strong communication skills. They're not just going to tickle your ears, but they are integral. They're going to be extremely clear with what you're going to get, with what it entails, and they're going to communicate that effectively and efficiently. A good coach also aligns with your vision and your values. So what is your vision for your business? What is your vision for your family? Does the way that this person run their business reflect that their values align with yours? Let me tell you why this is important. Because if you select a coach and their values don't align with yours, then that means that likely in their coaching strategies, they're going to be telling you to do things that are not going to sit well with you. So like, for instance, there's a really popular marketer out there. I won't say the name. There's a really popular marketer, and their mantra is work around the clock and family time doesn't matter. They say this in their content, or they say some version of this in their content. You got to ask yourself, does their belief system around that align with your values? Because if it doesn't, then that means that if you were to choose this coach, they're going to tell you things. They're going to say things to you about how to work, about how to structure offers, about how to show up. And it's going to be a direct clash to your value about family life, family time, and rest. If they don't believe that family time is important, if they don't believe that rest is important, and all they believe in is hustling and working, then that means that the methods and the strategies that they're going to tell you are going to be reflective of their values, and it's going to clash with yours. This is why it's not just enough to know, okay, what is in this program? What is this person offering? You got to look at, how is this person showing up? Who is this person outside of doing the work? How are they managing life? How are they managing family? What is their approach to faith? And how do we see this, not just in words, but how have they been showing this on a consistent basis? Once you really start analyzing the person and looking at what they're doing and what they offer beyond the actual program, you can start to pick up whether or not this would be somebody that you're aligned with. Like, we really have to go into, you got to choose a coach like you choose your fruit. Like when you go into the store, you don't just pick up the first apple or the first carton of blueberries that you see. You pick it up, you inspect it, you open it up, you try to see, what it looks like, if it's any brown spots, all the things. And if you don't like it, you put it back. You've got to do some inspection. You need to, instead of DMing this person and asking them what they do, go on their website, look at their website, listen to their podcasts, tune into if they do classes, tune into their classes, engage. If you like, for instance, we do a challenge. We do like a live workshop every single month. So if you were trying to vet me, sign up for it. Come to it. If you can't come live, watch the replays. Do the homework assignments and see if it works for you. See if you get quick wins or clarity from those homework assignments. Go look on the website. Come listen to episodes on the podcast. Look at the testimonials. Go check those people out. This is how you start vetting people. Listen to podcasts they did on other people's platforms. This is how you start vetting people and how you can avoid being duped and taken advantage of. I'll be honest with you, and some of y'all might not like this, but a lot of times folks are taking advantage of simply because you didn't do your due diligence. You didn't do your due diligence. You didn't listen to the podcast. You halfway did the training. You didn't do any of the homework. You looked at what they looked like, but you didn't pay attention to what they were actually giving you. And then what happens? You get in and now you turn around and say, well, they stole my money. No, they didn't. They were very clear with what they did and what they didn't do. You just didn't vet them properly. Or you might have had unrealistic expectations. Now, there are some people that straight up lie. And if somebody lie, don't let people get away with just lying to you and taking what you have. And I'm saying this as a coach. I'm saying this as a consultant. I'm also saying this as somebody that buys and purchases the courses and coaching programs and masterminds of others. I'm also saying this as someone who invests in the services of others. There has been a time when I'm like, listen, you didn't, and this was in regards to service, and it only happened one time, but I was like, our contract said this is what you did. You didn't fulfill the obligations of this. So don't be afraid to speak up for yourself when necessary. Yeah, but again, you've also got to be realistic. Like, I remember I had one particular client. It was like 2 years ago. And this person came into my writing program. They were in the writing program for the whole entire duration. They were in the writing program for like 5 months. And in the 6 months, they tried to ask for a refund. I was just like, first and foremost, no. They were like, well, we don't get this, we don't get that. I said, you was never promised that. I literally went back and pulled up our call that I had where I went over every single thing that we got. I said, I explained, not only is it on the web page, but I explained everything in detail in this call. Here's the recording of our call. I said, what you're saying is not what we discussed. We never discussed one-on-one calls. We never discussed X, Y, Z. All these things you're saying, that was never promised to you. I said, not only did it say it on the website, but this was spelled out in your agreement that you were sent. And here's a recording of the call that I personally had with you where I explained everything. I answered all your questions and you agreed and then you enrolled. And so I said, here's the link. You can go back and listen to it yourself. And I sent her the link of our call. So that goes to, I'm saying that because a lot of times when some people can be quick to say, well, I didn't get this, I didn't get that. My question is, did you make up in your mind that you were going to get something that you were never promised? Like, we can't go into this being delusional either. We've got to be honest with ourselves about what it is we enrolled in and that we signed up for. And then we've got to take ownership. Like, the reality is that this person didn't manage their time. They didn't show up on the calls despite us reaching out to them. And then the program was about to be over and now they wanted whatever. And it's just like, no. I'm not a babysitter. I'm a consultant. I'm not home with you. I can't make you show up. I can't make you watch the replays. Those are things you got to do yourself. Will we reach out to you? Yes. Will we support you? Absolutely. Will we look over your work and give you feedback? Yes. But we can only support you to the level that you show up for yourself. And if you choose not to show up for yourself, then you can't come and flip it around and make it be something that it never was. So this is where ownership comes in play too. Okay. So let's talk about some so those are some traits of an asset, a coach's asset. Like a real coach is going to hold you accountable. A real coach is going to hold you accountable. A real coach has a proven track record of results, even if their results were in their profession and in their corporate life. I had 12 years of results as a language arts teacher and a writing coach way before I ever did this work in a business. A real coach is also going to be, a coach is an asset, is also adaptable and going to be willing to grow with you. Let's talk about some red flags to avoid. So a coach that could be a liability lacks accountability and follow through. Like they don't do what they say they're going to do very early on. They may have poor communication skills. They may, what I call, be a fast talker. You know, they sound good, everything feels good, but they don't really show that they're a connoisseur of the information that they are promising to teach you, right? A coach that could potentially become a liability does not have a track record of the thing that they are teaching you. This is what you got to be. We saw a lot of this in the pandemic where everybody and their mama was getting up trying to sell anything that they could. I literally saw fitness coaches creating courses about Turo. Folks with gyms creating courses about Airbnb. Like, when did you become an Airbnb aficionado? When did you become a Turo expert? Nothing. Your friends were talking about it and you created a course. So, and a lot of people got duped that way because they were looking at the flash. They were looking at all of that. And they weren't looking at this person's track record. This person had never talked about Turo ever. And all of a sudden now they have a course on it and want you to buy it. What would make you trust somebody like that is the question. We've got to get down to it. Is it that you like the flash? Is that you're attracted to the flash? Is that you're attracted to the marketing? Is that they're saying something good that seems appealing to you? Because if you go to their website, do you see any evidence of whatever it is? If you Google their name or look them up and you look up their history, do they have a track record of talking about that thing? And if they don't, at that point, you got to ask yourself, would this person be the best person to invest thousands of dollars in coaching, in consulting? Like coaching is very different than a digital product. That means that you are either getting a very high level of information and or you're working with them in an intimate capacity. And so you've got to determine that. What I want for you and for everybody listening, I want you to sharpen your discernment. One of the things that I talk about in my dissertation is the low barrier to entry. Right now, the online coaching business has no barrier to entry. That means that anybody that has personality can get in front of a camera, or anybody that has good communication skills or oratorical skills and and can talk about a topic can get in front of the camera and pull up their information on ChatGPT and make something up, whether it's real or not. And if they're charismatic enough, they can win over the hearts and minds of people. You have to have a spirit of discernment, especially in this day and age. Even if that means that if you're not already doing this, you pray about every investment that you make. One of the things that I do about the investments that I make, I pray about them. I might already can feel in my spirit that not I want it, I need this, and this is going to help me, but I'm going to pray about this, and I need additional confirmation that this is a move to make. Now, it's not being spooky or nothing like that, but it might be something that they say. It might be, this is the thing that I was looking for. Like, I remember when I decided to invest upwards of $40,000 to work with Marshawn Evans Daniels, which is what she charged at that time. She's since increased. I had literally been praying about 3 specific things. And the morning that I made this particular prayer, later on that afternoon, she hopped in my DMs and we were having a conversation. And each of those specific things she mentioned almost word for word. I knew that no matter how much it was, no matter when it started, I knew that I needed it. And me knowing how she works, I knew she wasn't going to do the same thing in the same way. And I knew that I needed to be in that cohort. And I had to make it happen. And it was probably one of the best coaching experiences that I've ever had that really helped push me into my next level of being a woman, being a believer, being a business owner, right? So listen, The Bible says that in a multitude of counselors, there is wisdom. I absolutely believe in coaching. I believe in coaching and consulting as a tool to accelerate business growth, as a tool and as a service to accelerate business growth. But you need to be strategic. You need to have discernment, not fear. You need to have discernment, and you need to just do your due diligence. That doesn't mean it shouldn't even take you months, but within a couple of days, you can go on somebody's site. You can listen to their podcast. You can buy a digital product or buy their book or, buy a course that they might have and go through it. And you can determine whether or not this person has what you need and whether or not this person can really help you based on the information that they provide, based on the track record that already exists. All right. So definitely let me know. Tag me on Instagram, comment on YouTube, send me an email to hello@jasminewomack.com. Leave a review down below and let me know if this helped you, how this helped you. And if you know somebody that's on the fence and looking for a coach and they're trying to figure out how to make the right choice, send this episode to them. Okay? As always, thank you so much for being here. Our next episode, we're going to have a special guest speaker. I'm so excited for you to hear the next episode, and I will see you there. Peace, love, and impact. See you soon. Welcome to the Published and Paid podcast, where we share book, business, leadership, and life lessons in 20 minutes or less to help you build a thought leadership brand and business. My name is Jasmine Womack. I'm a former middle school language arts teacher turned 7-figure entrepreneur, and I am glad that you are here. Let's get started.